All right, so how would we start designing your app? The first thing I would do is I would um, figure out your sketch and maybe bring your sketch in. So here is a sketch for a iPhone screen. And so what I can do is I can kind of like take my marquee tool and kind of grab the sketch window, and I'm going to copy that, edit, cut, or edit, copy, and then bring that into my design like this and go edit, paste. All right, so right now it's over here in Artboard 3, but I want it in Artboard 1. So notice that it's a lot smaller than the artboard. That's because the image is 72 pixels per inch and this artboard is like 401 pixels per inch. So we can just hold the shift key down and scale this out like that to fill the space. And this will give us a basis for what we need. Now the first thing is, you see this AT&T lock and battery thing. In Envision, there is a header of the phone. So here's that header, and it is about 45 pixels deep. So you want to make some room for this. So you don't want to design anything beyond that 45, above that 45 pixels. So if I'm back in here, I can actually just make a rectangle. So I'm going to go down to and make a rectangle and bring it across the top here, and it's just a placeholder. Maybe I'll make it black, and I will just make it 45 pixels high. Um, there we go. And so that is my space for uh, the Envision. What are your bars? What time is it? How's your battery life area on your iPhone? So we'll just put that there and remember that that's there. So now this whole design kind of gets a little bit too deep. So maybe we want to move this sketch. Now notice that when I clicked on this, I did not click on the item below it. Now you can select auto select up here, and it will select different things just by selecting on them. So if I click off to the side, here I'm in a lock thing. So again, that check mark, click off of that. I can click on that, or I can click on that. But I usually turn auto select off, and what I do is I control click or right click. And if I right click, it'll say rectangle 1 or layer 2. Which one do you want? And you can see over here that rectangle 1 is that black box and layer 2 is the sketch. And so I can go layer 2, and then I can move this up, and maybe I'll just scale it down a little bit. So now I've got this, move it up, there we go. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to figure out this header area. So this header area, we have this, what is this? This is the Hamburger. This is what is used to identify hidden navigation. So if you click on the Hamburger, the navigation expands down. You click on the Hamburger and then it collapses. Or you click on the Hamburger and it opens up and off to the side, or something like that. So that's something you got to think about in your design. And so a lot of this stuff is just done with rectangles to kind of mock things out. So maybe I want to have my my navigation, my header. Maybe my header's this big. Maybe it's this big. So there's my header, and in the header usually you have your the name of your app and your hamburger. So here is this rectangle with the green, and you may want to manage your layers a little bit better. I'm going to drag this up a little bit because you're going to get a lot of layers, and so as you get them you may want to reword them or relabel them and call this header. And so if I want to create a hamburger, I'm going to turn the header off for the time being and then use this as a guide for my hamburger. And all I have to do is draw one. and the hamburger is going to be black. So I'm going to select that and make it black. But I don't need to draw this 3 times. I just need to draw it once. And then what I can do is I'm going to zoom in. So spacebar command, zoom in. And what I can do is I can hold the option control, the option key down. Notice the double arrow and the shift key. The shift key keeps things aligned in 90-degree angles. So I can do that, make them like 10 pixels apart, and then do it again. And notice that it automatically kind of separates things by 10 pixels. So now I've got these 3 rectangles. I've got this rectangle, and this rectangle. But maybe I want to keep these rectangles grouped together. So if I just grab the group, it'll be the hamburger. To create a group, you come down here and click on this folder, this file folder, and then you make the items, hold the shift key down, select, and then drag them up until you see the little white box around the word group. And now you can see they're indented. So if I click on this toggle, they hide. So you can see that if I could change this group to hamburger. And now I can move it as a unit. So there's my hamburger, and the hamburger is on the header. So as I do this, notice that, all right, the hamburger needs to be more centered on the header. So what I can do is I can select the hamburger, hold the command key, select the header, and then notice that we have these align items coming up here. So if I click on this, notice that now the hamburger is centered in the header. And maybe the header needs to come up. There's a little white space right here, so I'm going to move it up. There we go. Now there's no white space. So now we got the black, and then the green, and then that. And then the next thing is I'm going to put the name of my app. And my app will be this app will find me no matter where I am. So I can select that, type, and just hold the shift key down and scale it like that. And then I can go down and continue with this process of creating rectangles, changing the color, create another rectangle. Maybe I'll use this rectangle as a basis so they're all the same width. So option, drag, and then I can just adjust the height. If this thing starts snapping too much, just hold the control key down and it'll stop the snapping. And then option, drag. You can hit the up arrow a little bit and then drag it down. And then option, drag. Let's go to the move tool, apply, and then option, drag, option, drag, option, drag. So this is like a blue circle. So go to your shape tools, get your ellipse, and then I'm just going to hold the shift key down and can eyedropper. If you've chosen a color, eyedropper. So there's that blue, and I can add that to swatches. Okay, and then I can go back and select this this ellipse, and then choose that blue that I just created. I can option shift drag. So there's another blue. This one would be white. So change that to white. And it wants a black outline. I'm going to hit the up arrow till the outline's what I want it to be. There you go. So you can see how I'm just kind of like mocking this up from the sketch that I have. And then when I'm done, I can turn that sketch off with the eyedropper. I'm sorry, with the eyeball right there.